The identity plate in Lightroom is the branding that you see at the top left corner, by default indicating that you are in fact working in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. Not only does that change the branding up at the top left of Lightroom, but you can also use that identity plate as part of the output when you're sharing images. For example, you can put the identity plate as the title for a slideshow. Let's take a look at how we can modify that identity plate. We'll go to the Edit menu and then choose Identity Plate Setup. That will bring up the Identity Plate Editor. Within the Identity Plate Editor, we can both change the existing identity plate either as text or as a graphic, and we can also modify the text for the module picker up at the top right of the Lightroom interface. I don't need to worry about the module picker, so I'll simply click the Hide Details button so that I can focus my attention on the identity plate. First off, in order to view a custom identity plate, we need to turn on the Enable Identity Plate checkbox, and then we can choose a saved identity plate setup if we've already created one. I've not yet saved a setting for this. We can use an existing graphic as the identity plate. Now, this can be great if you're using this primarily as branding at the top left of the Lightroom display, but in the context of sharing your images, that can actually be a little bit problematic, because depending on the particular output, for example, a print versus a slideshow display, the resolution might be significantly different, and therefore the resizing of that logo can result in relatively poor image quality for the logo. So unless you have a clearly defined logo for your photography company, I suggest working with the stylized text instead. That said, if you do prefer to use a graphical identity plate, you can simply click the Locate File button to bring up a dialog so that you can navigate to and select the identity plate image you'd like to use. So I'll choose the Stylized Text option, and I'll type the text that I would like to appear. We'll just call this Tim Gray Photo. I can then change the font that I would like to use for that text. I can specify whether I want regular, bold, italic, or bold italic text. I can adjust the font size and also the font color. Once I've specified my settings for the identity plate, I can click the pop-up up at the top of the dialog and then choose Save As. I'll just call this one Tim Gray Photo. That seems to make perfect sense here since that's the text that the identity plate contains, and I can then click the Save button. Now, not only can I choose that Tim Gray Photo identity plate within the Identity Plate Editor if I want to change the display up at the top of Lightroom, but I can also use that identity plate in the various sharing modules in Lightroom. So I can potentially include some branding for myself whenever I'm sharing my images through Lightroom. For now, though, I'm finished with the Identity Plate Editor, so I'll go ahead and click OK so I can get ready to start sharing some more images.